What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Jerome, and I'm here tonight with a review for Real Housewives of Atlanta Season 11. This is the reunion part 1. I'm not quite sure why we have a 3-part reunion. It could have been done in 2 parts because the season was not that interesting for a 3-part reunion. But, you know, since Bravo says it's 3 parts, we're going to go ahead and knock it out with 3 parts. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and hop right into the video. All right, so I want to first start by saying that all the ladies, with the exception of Nene, look very nice to me. I loved Kandi's look. I actually, originally when I saw Shamari's look online, I did not like it. But then once you get to look at it on camera, it looks good. Love Porsha's look. Love Cynthia. Love Kandi. Loved Eva's outfit. Again, hated Nene's because it looked like she was bloated. So the reunion, they started getting ready for a reunion at 5 a.m. in the morning. I'm like, damn, that's early as fuck. So then we see Nene. She showed up, I think it was like about 9 o'clock or so. And, you know, she's on the phone with Marlo. Marlo has not made it because Marlo was out getting her nails done. And then, you know, they just talking about, you know, she's talking about how she feels like Cynthia ganged up against her, which we still talking about this Kenya situation, which it really wasn't that deep. Now, I want to address something because I watched Kandi's YouTube channel, and it's called Kandi Online. I couldn't remember that last week. It's Kandi Online. So Kandi, last week she had a guest, and her guest was Cynthia. So in last week's episode, they were talking about the season finale episode. Cynthia did address everything that happened in the episode. She did not know about Kenya coming to the party, and even Kandi backed that up. And, you know, Cynthia was like talking about the mic situation, the mic and the mic situation, where she was on microphone and she was talking about how she didn't know, she was supposed to act like she didn't know that Kenya was coming. She said she doesn't know where that came from, but she you know, she really did not know that Kenya was coming to the party. So, you know, and then Nene did her little thing on her YouTube channel where she kept talking about Cynthia not being a good friend. I don't give a fuck. Number one, she wants to keep bringing up this issue that, you know, when it came down to Eva and Giovanna, when Nene had her bi-wig party, Cynthia told Nene that it would be better for her to tell Eva to give her a heads up, which I agreed with that, because that was an intimate setting where it was just you girls, the production crew, in your home. There's a different situation between what Kenya, you know, between Cynthia's event party that she had. There were multiple different people there. So you could have at least at one, you know, if Kenya came up there where Cynthia was, you could have just said, you know what, let me go talk to this person. Let me go talk to that person, even when they had that opportunity. So there's a completely different situation right there. But Nene is just a hypocrite because nobody kisses her ass the way she wants them to. The only person that really kisses Nene's ass would be Marlo. That's it. And the only reason why Marlo kisses Nene's ass is because, you know, Marlo knows she's never going to get a peach. Like In Vogue said, never going to get it, 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 never going to get a peach. Like, you'll never get a peach, so just let it go. Like, that's why she kisses her ass. So then we see Andy. Andy goes into Kandi's little area where she's getting ready. And Kandi is talking about how she watched the footage from the finale episode, and she's like, I don't know how, you know, anybody can say that Cynthia knew when Cynthia didn't know that I was bringing, you know, Kenya to the event. So then we see Andy talk to Cynthia as well. And Cynthia just talking about how she felt like she was a good friend. I feel bad for Cynthia because Cynthia has been a good friend to Nene. But Nene, like I said, she wants people to kiss her ass. Unfortunately, I don't think Cynthia wants to kiss her ass anymore. And, you know, I don't know if I couldn't be friends with somebody like Nene, because being friends with somebody like Nene would be exhausting as fuck to me, because she just wants you to, like, she can, you know, she'll tell you, she'll do stuff for you, but the reason why she does stuff for you is so she can hold it in her back pocket and be like, oh yeah, you remember when I did this for you? Oh, you remember when I did that for you? Da da da, you know, I did this for you, I did that for you, because she did the same thing with Porsha. When, you know, she was talking about Porsha having a fight with Kenya, and she fought for her to stay on the show, XYZ, like, you just do that shit just for, you know, for collateral. That's really what you do it for, is collateral, you know, having in your back pocket to use as ammunition against them in the future if you need to. You're not a good friend at all. Okay, so we really didn't even get to start the reunion before you can see how negative Nene was. So, you know, Andy was going around the room speaking to each girl. You know, he talked to Eva, He talked to, you know, 'cause last year at the reunion, Eva was, you know, thought she was gonna have a reunion baby. He said, "Oh, it might be Porsha this year." Porsha like, no, it won't be me. He talked to Cynthia. He talked to Kandi. He talked to Shamari. He talked to that miserable ass Nene, and then he talked to Porsha. So when he was talking to Porsha, he was asking Porsha about her baby shower. He said, "Did all the ladies come?" She said, "No, all the ladies didn't. You know, all the ladies didn't come." She said, "Shamari came, Cynthia came, and Eva came. Kandi didn't come, but you know, Kandi did send some gifts, and you know, she and Kandi have this thing where they, you know they support each other, but they don't have to go to each other's events." And then he said, you know, he moves over to Nene. Then Nene comes. Nene said no. And he was like, "Weren't you at Floyd Mayweather's birthday party?" She said, "No, I was in Canada." Yeah. And, you know, Portia's like, "Yep, she was in Canada." And she's like, "Oh, I was really in Canada." And, you know, Portia was like, "Okay, girl, you was in Canada. I'm not saying you was lying." And then he asked her, "Did, you know, Nene send a gift?" She said, "You know, no, maybe I missed it." And she said, "Oh, no, you didn't miss it." She said, "Oh, I didn't miss it. I just didn't get one." Like, why you got to be so fucking negative? Like, that was just, like, here's my thing. If you're going to be negative at the reunion, why did you come? Like, that's my whole thing. Why the fuck did you come if you're going to sit there and be negative Nancy? You should have just stayed your big miserable ass at home. Like, nobody wants to sit there and watch it. Like, this whole first part was exhausting. Just seeing her and how miserable and how negative she was toward the girls. Because all the girls are having good banter with one another, but here she is just sitting there. I'm like, why? If you knew you were gonna do that, you could have easily said, "I'm not coming. Fuck the reunion. I'm not coming. I don't want to see any of them women. I'm done." It would have been that easy. But no, she needs that paycheck. That's what it is. Like, you just as oh God, I just really sat there and was irritated the whole time, to be honest with you. So if my notes are off and if the review is off, it's really because of her spirit making me come down. Because it was unwarranted, to be quite honest. Oh, and I did forget to mention that, you know, she said, "Well, you can even ask Golden over there. I've been in Canada." And Cynthia was like, "Goldie, get it correct." I'm like, come on, Cynthia. Like, get at her. Like, somebody just, oh, that woman. She irritated me. All right, so then we moved over to Porsha, you know, and her situation with Dennis. You know how she put out there last year at the reunion that she was going to be married and have a baby. And here we are a year later. She's pregnant and she's engaged to Dennis. So, you know, we run through the whole footage of that. And then you know, Andy was like, "You know, it's so funny because a year ago you were on Love Connection." She's like, "Yep, I was." But, you know, also a year ago, you know, that was before I started taking Dennis seriously. And then after that, we started taking each other seriously. You know, he got the hot dog. I got the bun. I'm like, that is so cute. I actually do like those two together. And I think that, you know, they're a good couple. So then they talk about her ring, how, you know, her ring is 13 carats and she's a tremendous upgrade from the last one she had with Cordell. So they talk about the wedding. The wedding is on pause as well as the prenup because, you know, they did talk about the prenup, but things got a little bit crazy. So she, you know what, she's like, "You know what, let's enjoy this pregnancy. And then after that, we can figure that shit out." And then they ask her, is she good with his, you know, Dennis's mom? She's like, "Yeah, we good, but I just want her to mind her damn business," basically. I thought that was funny. So then the viewer asked the question of her, you know, with her now being with her about to be a mom, and, you know, all the other women on the cast are mothers, and, you know, they're mothers and they, you know, work as well. Who would she take advice from? They asked, would she take advice from Kandi? She said, "Yeah, I take advice from Kandi," because actually the only person that says anything about Kandi and her mothering and working is Riley. So, you know, she says, "Yes, I would definitely take advice from her." And then Andy says, "So are you still in the process of naming, you know, baby PJ Porsha Jr.?" She says, "You know what? If she comes out looking like me, yes. But if she comes out looking like her dad," and she says, "More than likely she will because I saw her head, I have another P name for her." He's like, "Is it Phaedra?" I'm like, "Really, Andy? Phaedra of all names?" But nah. So then he asked her, "Well, are you still going to do the C-section?" She said, "Yeah, because vaginal birth, that is not for Porsha." All right. So then, you know, Andy asked Nene, he says, "So since you and Porsha, you know, live within blocks of each other, have you been to check on her?" She says, "No, I have not." I'm like, what a nasty piece of shit she is. Like, ugh. Oh, God. So then we talk about how Nene talking about how Porsha has not been there to support anybody. And then, Porsha says that she was initially hurt by Nene not coming to any of her events. She didn't come to the gender reveal, the baby shower. She said she was hurt by it, but she good now. I'm like, that's how you're supposed to be, Porsha. Forget her, fuck her. If she don't want to come around and support you, that's fine. So then Nene talking about how she wasn't supportive. I'm like, if memory serves me correctly, wasn't Porsha the one that gathered all the girls earlier this season to go to Miami to support you? Okay. Like, there's been a lot of, she came to your bow wig party. Supported you. She might have been late, but she came. She went to your party. She didn't go to the boobs and burping party last year. But I mean, she's supported you. So for you to sit there and say that, and Porscha's whole thing was, I think that Nene is, I agree with it. Nene is piggybacking on the fact that Porsha did not go to the OLG opening. She didn't go to the dungeon party or none of that stuff. But the thing is, Porsha and Kandi have it built in with each other that we are good with one another. We don't have to go to each other's. We don't necessarily have to go and support each other's events. And I think that is what Nene's trying to focus on, is that the fact that Porsha didn't go to nothing that Kandi had. But again, they made their relationship good. They mended fences, but they don't have to go to each other's events. So why the fuck does she care? Like, I don't get it, and I don't want to get it. Like, she's been nasty for no fucking reason. All right, so next we move over to Eva. Andy asked Eva, can you own up to your shade now? And she's like, you know what? Yeah, I guess I was being shady. She said, but looking at some of the other things that these women said about each other, my shade was nothing compared to their shade. So then Andy asked the question of the ladies, was anybody offended by anything that Eva said? And Nene, she's like, well, I didn't like a comment that Eva made, where it's not always about you, Nene. Well, that's true. It's not always about you. And then she's like, I don't even know where they came from. Eva's like, girl, let's just even go back to when we were in Tokyo for my bachelorette party. I had to think of it. Like, you were negative there, which she really fucking was. Like, oh gosh, she just drained my spirit. Like, I couldn't. Like, she can't own up to when she's wrong, and that shit is annoying as fuck. You can always point out when the other girls are wrong, but you can't never take fault in what you do. And then she's gonna talk about, did it affect Eva? Well, yes, it kind of did, because you put a damper on the party. When you walked into that party, your mood was down, and it could have brought the other girls down. So yes. So then Eva says, because she's like, so that's what the issue is. Like, and she's like, what issue? She's like, girl, we've all had banter with each other, but nobody's had banter with you. And she just, like I said, she's just, So, Eva, oh God. Like, really? Okay, so then Cynthia's talking about, the whole mother thing. She's like, people came to her and said that Eva was being shady toward her, but then at the same time, Eva was in her face being, friendly to her. But then when she saw the whole mother thing, she's like, well, mother is like, like, yes, mother, like, do it. Like, it's a good thing. And Eva was like, yeah, it is. And she was like, I didn't think nothing of it. I thought it was, it was fun shade. And then somebody asked a question of Nene about her and Eva, since they've known each other for 10 years. And Nene says Eva is different because she said more 10 years ago than she's saying now. And, she's saying a lot of stuff, but she's not being very vocal to her. And I'm like, girl, just because she said that none of the events was about you, that is the truth. And the biggest one that she said wasn't about you was Cynthia's Peach Bellini party, where you made the whole situation about Kenya. And it had nothing to do with you. That event was there to celebrate Cynthia, but you made it all about you. Whatever. So next we asked Eva the question, was she still past the peach? She says, you know what? She said about Shamari, if you like it, you wear it. And they were like, Porsche like, girl, let that shade out. She said, okay, Shamari, I like your dress, but it's a little bit too long for you, but it looks better when you're sitting down. Why she say that? Because Shamari did not want to take that, did not take that. And Andy said, well, what do you think about Eva? She said, I think she looked like a tree. I said, well, damn. It was funny. It was fun shade. It wasn't nothing to take seriously. So then, Andy asked Eva, did she know Yvonne? She said, nope, don't know. And Porsha like, oh, but I did hear that she was that bitch at Clark Land. Like, a lot of people have told me she was that bitch. So then we talk about, how the whole situation between Eva, Shamia, and at Shamari's first event that they went to, where she said Shamari is black, but not with the Q. I'm not going to go too deep into it because I've already talked about this once. I talked about this earlier in the season. It was nothing. She wasn't talking about Shamia's skin tone. She was talking about black. The group is spelled BLAQUE. So Shamari is black. She's not black with the Q. She was talking, and she was clearly talking about when she said So if you go back and watch the episode, because I can actually remember it in my head. Because they were talking about Shamia versus Shamari, and Eva kept referring to Shamari as black, the name of her group. She says, I like black. She said Shamia is not black with the Q, meaning she's not Shamari. So Kandi was just talking about how she took it, and they went back and forth for a few minutes, but then they both they saw each other's points of view and they let it go, and that's where Nene needs to be. You can go back and forth for a little bit, but then at the end of it, just be like, what? It is what it is. I see where you coming from, and you see where I came from and what I meant by it, and we can move it on. But unfortunately, that big bull can't do it. All right, so next we'll move over to Kandi. So Kandi and Todd, Andy asked him how things going with the surrogate. She says they're getting ready to do the implanting into the surrogate. So Andy said he called Kandi. He was talking to Kandi about his experience, with the surrogacy. And then, Kandi starts to cry because she said that she told Andy that, I guess now I have a baby mama. And Andy was like, no, don't do that. Don't diminish yourself. Like, yes, someone else is carrying your child, but that's still your child at the end of the day. So don't do that to yourself. And I'm so glad Andy told her that. Because, and like Kandi said, it's not something that we see typically in the African American community, where we go through the whole thing of surrogacy. Because I actually do not know anybody that has done surrogate in my circle of friends, my family. So I definitely know where I can understand where she's coming from. But I'm definitely glad that Andy told her not to do that to herself, not to diminish herself in her child's life. I thank him for that. Okay, so then Andy asked her the question of why did she do Celebrity Big Brother? Because Riley already says that she's not there in Ace's life, and so she says, what? It was actually Riley that talked her into doing it. She said because Riley said she had a dream that she was in a Celebrity Big Brother house. And then, she's like, how cool would it be? How interesting would it be if they actually reached out to my mom to do Celebrity Big Brother? So when they reached out to her, Riley just told her to go ahead and do it. So then Andy asked the question of Shamari, would you be able to do Celebrity Big Brother? I mean, knowing how you are about your kids. And Shamari said, actually, I would actually have to turn it down. I just wouldn't be able to, be away from my kids. And I can understand that one because her kids are very young. So I definitely get that. So then, Kandi says that, because somebody asked a question about how are things between Todd and Mama Joyce after that shitty ass, explanation of the lemonade she gave to him. She says, you know what? Todd is making, lemon. He's actually making his own lemonade now. So then they talk about Kandi singing because Andy asked a question if she and Shamari are going to put out that song that they did together. And then, Andy asked Nene, does she think Kandi can sing? And she said, what she said in her interview was just fun shade. But she think Kandi's a great writer. And Kandi's like, you know what? I really didn't care what she said, so it ain't that big a deal to me. And then Cynthia, Andy was talking about he was happy to see them consummate their relationship. And, how Cynthia felt like Kandi was just a little bit too much for her. And then, Andy asked Porsha, what did she think about the dungeon? She was like, huh? And she said, oh, I think I need a little bit of kickback from it. It was cute. So then, they start talking about social media. I'm not even going to delve deep into that. But they did show them shoulders bouncing with Shamari and Ronnie. Oh, my God, that video kills me. I need them shoulders bouncing. Like, I need them shoulders bouncing. All right. So then we talk about this tweet that Nene put out about how, you know, I didn't even care to read look at, you know, type down what the tweet said. But it was talking about how a good friend was insecure, not that pretty, and some other stuff. And everybody initially thought it was about Cynthia. So Andy asked Cynthia about it. Did you think it was you? She said, well, you know, when it said insecure, no, because one, I'm not insecure. When it said not that pretty, she said, well, definitely not that. That definitely ain't me. But then she said, when I got to the point where it said good friend, and Nene was like, huh, good friend, you're not that either. And I'm like, girl, why? Like, you are just being nasty for no fucking reason. Ugh. Oh, God. Okay, so then a viewer asked a question of Nene, like, when it comes to your friends, why don't you confront your friends instead of talking about it on social media? And he's like, well, I do confront my friends. And Porsha's like, And then I was with Porsha. Like, that was my whole mood the entire time watching her. And then, you know, Nene one time about how she's big and whatnot. I'm like, she's pregnant, number one. What the fuck is your excuse for sitting there looking like a big bloated blowfish? Because your stomach was just protruding. What was your excuse? You looked horrible. Oh, God. Okay, so then we move over to, oh, no. Andy asked, you know, Kandi a question, how she felt about Ronnie and Shamarty's placement. She said it was cute. So then we talked about Porsha and Kandi. Are they following each other? She said they both say no, but Porsha's like, you know what? I was actually about to hit the follow button, and Kandi was like, let's not even do that. And then Kandi said something that made a lot of sense. So, you know, she's like, we don't want to have to go through this whole thing of following and unfollowing each other, because one, it's not that important. But then when it does happen, the blogs are the ones that pick it up and they make it bigger than what it is, aka the shade room. That's all the shade room does. Like, if you ever look at some of their stuff, they'll be like, oh, so and so is unfollowing this person. Like, y'all have that much time on y'all day to just sit on social media to see who is following who and who ain't following who. Like, it's not, I don't know why people get so in their feelings about who follows them and who don't follow them. Like, followers are not paying your bills. Like, I don't get it. Like, it makes no sense to me. So then they asked a question about, you know, Nene and her stuff. And all the girls feel like, you know, the business between she and Greg is her personal business. You leave it that way. And then she gets in her feelings talking about that's her social media. She runs it. You are absolutely correct, sis. You run it the way you want to run it. But then when people reiterate your business and talk about your business, don't get mad at it because you did what? You put it out there in the public eye for everyone to see. That's what I hate about a lot of people. Like, I got family members I don't use Facebook anymore. But, you know, I'll log in and just keep up with people. And I'll be like, y'all post too much shit on there. And I've told this to certain family members, like, you guys post way too much of your business on there. Like, you know, they be like, well, I want everybody to know what's going on with me. And I've always said this, well, when people start talking shit about you and putting your business out there in the streets, you want to get mad and be like, oh, y'all need to keep my name out y'all need to keep my name out y'all motherfucking mouth. And I have cousins and I have an aunt who said that shit. You know, people need to keep their name out their mouth. Well, shit, if you would stop telling people all your business, then they wouldn't have nothing to talk about. That's common sense, right? Maybe. I don't know. Like, maybe it's common sense just to me. I don't know, because I don't put all my business out there. So that way people don't have anything to talk about. No one knows what's going on in my life. Like, unless I tell you, like, whatever. But yeah, Nene said that she don't care what the girls say. Like, okay. So then Porsha asked the question of, you know, why do you think that Cynthia is so insecure? And she said that the reason why she said that is because she feels like the whole hashtag chill and whatnot stuff is overkill. It's overkill to you. And as you said about the girls and you know, them talking about your business, Cynthia shouldn't give a fuck what you say about her, because I mean, you're not that important. But that's where the reunion ended, you guys. That was the end of part 1, so we're going into part 2 next Sunday. Like the video, leave your comments, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys later on for Married to Medicine Los Angeles.